CBC Headline News, brought to you by Digicel, Barbados' fastest 4G network.
Credible, balanced, committed. This is the CBC Evening News.
And a very good evening to you. I'm Lisa Lord with the Wednesday, August 31st edition of the CBC Evening News and our top story. The decision by the Student Revolving Loan Fund to get tough with defaulters by publishing their names in the public is getting the thumbs up from one of the island's leading educators. Former secondary school principal Jeff Broom says the name and shame measure is long overdue, since it's the only way government can recoup the close to $50 million owed to it. Ron Brathwaite has the latest development.
These are just a few of the names recently released by the Student Revolving Loan Fund in a full-page advertisement exposing close to 130 people who failed to honor their commitment to repay the fund monies they borrowed in the past to further their education. In addition to the published names, the fund is also looking to plaster the faces of these persons in the press as well as on their website. This is widely being endorsed by local educator and former school principal Jeff Brooms, who wants to see the measure taken a step further.
If they're not prepared to pay back the money, they expose names, I would go even a step further. I would love to see if you can engage the Royal Barbados Police Force to go to their workplaces or their homes and bring them handcuffs in the public domain to embarrass them even more.
Government from time to time has propped up the highly indebted state agency with cash injections. However, Mr. Brooms believes this practice is highly unsustainable. He says if government is to put money in a student, it is only fair that persons should at some time be willing to reimburse the state.
We're not a wealthy country, but there are other people who are struggling to get an education. They cannot afford. You went forward. You got yours. You've got your degree. You've got the job as a result of it. You're making a good enough salary. You don't have to pay all one time. It is of period time, monthly payments or whatever, and they're refusing to pay. I don't. Can you imagine? To me, it's like going in the bank and taking the money and going along with it without giving it back.
Officials say the list of persons defaulting or repaying their loans have grown over time within the thousands. CBC understands that some people have been quietly coming forward to settle their arrears. However, according to reports, the rate at which this has been happening has not been encouraging. CBC News tried to contact Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, June Chandler, who was chairman of the Student Revolving Loan Fund, but was told she was attending a meeting and would not be available for comment on the matter. Ron Brathwaite, CBC News.
Well, the new Hyatt Hotel could give a much-needed boost to business in the city. This is the view of a number of business owners in the Norman Centre shopping complex on Broad Street, and they were speaking to the press as the commemorative Broken Trident went to its final stop in St. Michael.
Following a tedious refurbishing project, the historic Norman Centre Mall on Broad Street is emerging as one of the top spots for shopping in the city. Mall manager Debbie Lashley says Norman Centre is in its 40th year of operation, and she believes it stands as an iconic part of Bridgetown's city centre. She, however, acknowledges that Bridgetown could do with a much-needed boost and believes the proposed US $100 million project for a Hyatt Regency resort could be a part of the solution.
Athens and so on that are in fact also UNESCO heritage sites and so on. I think we would see that they are filled with hotels. They are filled in fact with residential communities that not only then help the city to thrive during the day, but also to at night when it becomes alive with interest, with whatever, movie theaters, nightclubs, restaurants, places to enjoy and relax.
Featuring well-established businesses like Standard and Payless, Norman Centre is also emerging as a growing hub for fledgling entrepreneurs. Owner of Overflow Boutique, Yancy King, says she is in love with the location and is getting a lot of business from locals, regional and international tourists. She thinks more high-end hotels around the Bridgetown area would be a blessing.
I believe so, especially for Broad Street, because if you look, it's just across the bridge. So I believe it's going to be good for Broad Street and for Norman Centre.
Over at Muggs and Suds, a small coffee shop in the mall, Manager Natalie Springer says the business has been in Norman Center for a little while. She thinks Bridgetown has a lot of potential that isn't being seized upon by business owners and investors.
Physical buildings probably need more upgrading, so they need some money spending on them. The owners need to spend some money on them. I think that people, for some reason, town seems to be a bad word, and I'm not sure why, because when you look at other places like Warren's, etc., it's getting just as congested, so I'm not quite sure where the issue is now.
As business people call for more development in Bridgetown, developers are awaiting approval from Town and Country Planning to begin the construction of a Hyatt Regency resort, expected to change the face of the city. Meanwhile, many business owners are hoping it can translate into further development and a resurgence of the area in general. Kareem Smith, CBC News.
Well, Barbados continues to benefit significantly from its diplomatic ties to Britain. This from Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade Minister Senator Maxine McLean during a farewell function for British High Commissioner Victoria Dean. Minister McLean says the High Commissioner has been a real friend to the island, and Barbados derived much during her tenure, including an updated air services agreement.
In February this year, Barbados and the United Kingdom signed an air services agreement which served to modify the previous 1999 Air Services Agreement. And why is this so important? It is one that serves to facilitate the further development of transportation links between our two countries. And of course, such an agreement opens up possibilities for increased investment and growth in tourism and trade sectors, among other benefits.
And the High Commissioner thanked Barbados and her staff for her memorable 3-year stint. She also talked about some of the positive developments during that time.
A huge new aid program for the region, bigger than we've ever done before. We've had the Top Gear Festival, we've had the opening of a new fusion centre up at the RSS, which allows us to better collaborate on international crime and tackling criminals who want to target both the shores of Barbados and the Caribbean and of the UK. Not here in Barbados, but something I'm very proud of is the first visit to Grenada by a serving Prime Minister. We've had the doubling of our scholarship programme, and just today I hosted an event to send off 18 scholars from the Eastern Caribbean to the UK.
Residents of Sergeant's Village, Christchurch, were awakened by the sound of gunfire as a 20-year-old resident was shot and injured. DeMarco Combs, also known as Polo, received a gunshot wound to his stomach. According to police, the incident took place around 6:45. Combs was reportedly shot in the lower abdomen and ran a few meters before collapsing. He was then rushed to the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, where he underwent emergency surgery. While neighbors remain tight-lipped about the details, police say their investigations are continuing. Well, still in police-related news, a drug eradication exercise by lawmen yesterday netted more than 4,000 cannabis plants. Police and members of the drug squad, assisted by the Tactical Response Unit and the Barbados Defence Force, conducted the eradication operations in several areas. These included Vaughanland and Coffee Gully over in St. Joseph, Ashford and Lemon Arbor in St. John, along with Arthur Seat in St. Thomas. A total of 4,025 cannabis plants were seized. No arrests were made. Parents across Barbados are being encouraged to play a more active role within their children's school PTA. PTA President of Grisette's Primary, Ralston Aline, admits that although the school needs some help with maintenance, fundraising and other activities, not enough parents come forward. In fact, it was a two-man show when a CBC team found Mr. Aline and Miles Richards repainting the school facilities ahead of the new term. The pair said it would be a 2-week effort which would cover an upstairs and downstairs block of the school, the front walls and perhaps the nursery. Mr. Aline, whose 2 children attend the school, is appealing to parents to take more interest in the parent-teacher associations.
Support the PTAs as we got meetings and we got fundraising to come out and help, right? Because to see that PTA is not just about money. This is the things that PTA funds go into to help the school, that the children can have a better place to learn. So I'm pleading the parents that whichever school they are, that they can come out, go to the PTA meeting and support it. Because this is the things that we need. Our children is for our children, not for us.
Mr. Aline suggests that many parents shy away from the PTA because they feel pressured to give money, but he explains that even if there's no money to spare, parents can support in other ways.
The parents can contribute first of all by coming out to the meetings, partaking in the meeting, partaking in different events that the school have, in helping in fundraising, in ideas that they can bring, car washing, cake sales, different things that they can come out and support, and those are some of the ideas that we could work with.
Residents in the parishes of St. Andrew and St. Thomas will experience water outages from tomorrow night. The Barbados Water Authority says this is due to exceedingly low water levels in its Castle Grant Reservoir. As a consequence of the low water levels, there will be a shutdown to some of the pipelines in the system from 10 p.m. tomorrow until 4 on Friday morning. And this is to allow the reservoir to replenish. Residents expected to be affected are those living in White Hill, Moles Bottom, Farmers, Pori Springs, Dunscombe, Rock Hall, Church Road, Hillaby, and surrounding districts. The BWA is advising residents to store an adequate amount of water for the duration of the shutdown and apologizes for any inconvenience that this may cause. Well, a number of districts in St. Lucie are in line for a much improved water supply. It's coming through a new packaged desalination plant at Hope St. Lucie. We hear more about this in our Water Wednesdays program near the end of tonight's newscast. And MCTV and Cooperators General launch a 50th Bajan initiative. That story and more ahead in just a moment. Stay with us.
Don't let your data experience slow you down. Step up to Digicel, Barbados' fastest 4G network, more than twice as fast as the slow network. Get more with Digicel. Digicel, the fastest 4G network in Barbados. Dial *153# to sign up to Digicel today.
They're new, they're full of flavor, they're chunks of fruity 100% natural real fruit bars from Byko. Enjoy this fat-free treat in delicious strawberry, pina colada, pineapple, Caribbean mix, lime, and mango flavors from retail outlets island-wide, Byko Mobilers, and the Byko Direct Outlet on Harbor Road.
Cave Shepherd is adding up your chances to win this back-to-school season. Everything you need for back-to-school is on the middle floor at our Cave Shepherd main store in the school department. Get great brands like Kipling and High Sierra backpacks. Also Hush Puppies and K-Swiss in the shoe department. Plus spend on Grand Collection, Miss Grand Collection, K-Swiss or Smartwear brands, and in Tasha's Wonderland for a chance to win great prizes with Cave Shepherd this back-to-school season. Cave Shepherd, in style since 1906.
All behind me there, you can see the marijuana plant.
Fetters and beats is
Sweat, I come out to sweat, I wet, I sweating more than you. I come to wine and jam and I sure to catch it more than you.
It was always a very boring job.
This is the future Caribbean Opera. Morning and evening, this is me home and not leaving. I can't get over this.
MCTV and Cooperators General Insurance have launched their Keeping It Bajan for the 50th promotion. The two have partnered to jointly reward customer loyalty. Or Shane Jones tells us more.
Cooperators, MCTV, coming together for the 50th anniversary.
The effort has been dubbed as a collaboration between two strong brands that have been serving Barbadians for many years. The Keeping It Bajan for the 50th promotion begins on Friday, September 2nd and ends on December 28th.
The promotion will be executed via one of the CBC stations of choice, 94.7 FM, on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays at 7:35 a.m. It will take the form of a 5-minute segment, and during these segments, the listeners will receive product and company information about both companies. At the end of the 5-minute segment, the announcer will pose a question which will give listeners an opportunity to call in and for a chance to win an interim prize. It should be noted that in celebration of our country's 50th anniversary of independence, there will be 50 interim prize winners. Each radio winner will win the interim prize of the day and will automatically be entered into the draw for the grand prize.
Well, that grand prize will be 1 year's free auto and property insurance from Cooperators General Insurance and 1 year's free MCTV subscription. However, there will also be some smaller prizes.
We have partnered with some small businesses who will offer our clients and their subscribers vouchers, whether it may be gas vouchers. Some are coming also from the spas. We also have lunch vouchers, as well as beauty supplies, vouchers from Number One Beauty Supplies. So this morning, again, we want to thank our partners for partnering with us and making the vouchers available.
Well, those who are not radio winners can collect an entry form from any branch of Cooperators General Insurance or at CBC to answer the question and drop it in the box provided. Shane Jones, CBC News.
For the 50th anniversary.
The University of the West Indies is looking towards graduate studies research to bolster its position within the global academic community. This from UWI's Pro-Vice Chancellor, Professor Eugene Barato, who with other officials welcomed new graduate students to the campus yesterday. Professor Barato told the new and returning students that their research project should advance national, regional and international knowledge. She gave an example of the university's sargassum seaweed research, which adds to the global discussion and provides economic opportunities.
Our scientific research, perhaps best exemplified by the work of CDRC and CERMES, has gained worldwide recognition. Our social science research provides the basis for the formulation of much regional policy. Our research in law and advisory work in law has been contributing greatly to a lot of the legal opinions in the regions, and this is only some examples.
Professor Barato explains that research exercises can be costly, and that's part of the reason UWI is thanking its donors and urging all others to consider funding the financially strapped university.
And the UWI administration, especially at Cavell campus, but throughout, I must say, is engaged in a drive on several fronts to secure funds for graduate education and research, and to see those funds to fuel regional economic and social development. University research, as you know, is undertaken primarily at the graduate level. Even our taught masters, which represent a significant percentage of all graduate degrees, often contain a research component. We know that expanding graduate education will contribute in significant measure to the economic competitiveness of our region.
With the ever-increasing violence plaguing our society, some may wonder, when will there be peace? Well, a walk called Walk for Peace will start at Jubilee Gardens on September 17th, which aims at encouraging Barbadians to live in harmony. This year, the hymn Let There Be Peace on Earth will be played by the Royal Barbados Police Force Band, along with other songs promoting peace. President of the Hope Transplant International, Michael Steele, says everyone is welcomed to participate.
We believe that in light of all these killings, and we see the violence that's happening, and something needs to happen. We're calling on the churches to come out and lend a voice to say, as a community, we're seeking peace. As individuals in the blocks, even, we're calling those guys on the blocks to, put up the weapons and decide, you know what, let's come and walk together. Let's make some truce. Because if we don't do it, what's going to happen to our youth and the other individuals who are watching our example?
We'll take a look at stories from across the region when we return.